Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to Jamson Entertainment. And welcome to the conversation. Just before we get started, there are many ways you can help. You can like and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. But most importantly, please share this video. Get the word out there's a community we can talk about all the things that we love. I recently just saw The Flash, starring Ezra Miller, Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, Sasha Call, Michael Shannon, Ron Livingston, Jeremy Irons, Kiersey Clemens, and Maribel Verdú. This movie is better than I expected. DC has a lot more misses than it does hits, and that's why I didn't have a whole lot of faith in this movie. I haven't really been a fan of Ezra Miller's Flash. After watching this movie, his Flash has the same problem that Henry Cavill's Superman had. I think it just comes down to bad writing and possibly bad direction. So the Flash in the DCEU is this nerdy, quirky, very socially awkward guy who can't shut up. And they do make fun of that in this movie because, and this is not a spoiler, it's in the trailer, he travels back in time and he runs into his younger self. And that's when he realizes what people are talking about, his personality and attitude. The movie has some chuckles in there like that. The reason why he goes back in time, his mother was murdered by someone when he was 8 or 10. His father was prosecuted, found guilty of murdering his wife, but he is an innocent man. There was security footage of him going to the grocery store and picking something up because the wife forgot an item. It was really bad security footage, and Wayne Tech, because he's friends with Bruce Wayne / Batman, secretly cleaned up the footage because I guess he was testing out new technology. He cleaned it up and it's supposed to be presented as new evidence in court. Problem is, his dad never looks up to reveal that yes, he was actually at the grocery store and he can be acquitted of the charges. So Barry knows that if he goes fast enough, he can go through time. The fact that this footage doesn't help the case at all really pushes him to go back, and the item that his mom forgot at the grocery store when they were shopping, he simply goes back and puts that item in her cart. Well, if you're familiar with any time travel and the butterfly effect, that simple action, even though he seemingly didn't interact with anyone, he did it all in the Speed Force, sets off a huge chain of events, and he has to go and fix his mistake. He gets foiled by the Reverse Flash, who is just in the Speed Force. He gets pushed out by the Reverse Flash, and it's a mystery revolving around this character. They very wisely keep the Reverse Flash out of this a whole lot. They get on with Barry trying to fix the timeline. As I mentioned, he runs into his younger self on the day he's supposed to become the Flash. They have the accident happen. He was working on some kind of experiment. Chemicals get poured onto him as he's getting electrocuted by a lightning strike, and that's how he gets his powers, at least in this universe. I'm not sure how it is in the original story because I'm not as familiar with the Flash as I am with the two big ones, Superman and Batman. In recreating that, because they actually do go to where it happens, because Barry is worried about more things getting messed up if past Barry doesn't get the powers. In doing so, he loses his powers, and so he has to train his younger self how to be the Flash. And there's some good moments in there because you really get to see Barry mature dealing with his younger self. It cleans up a whole lot of the issues I had with the character. And in this alternate timeline, well, I already mentioned him in the casting, and he's been in all the trailers. Michael Keaton is the Batman of this universe. That's part of the reason why I like this movie so much. They hit you hard with nostalgia goggles, and they actually do a good job with it. It's not done for the sake of doing it. There's actually purpose to it, and it really works. Barry being in the past, but it being an alternate timeline, and instead of Ben Affleck being Bruce Wayne / Batman, it's Michael Keaton, and it's the continuation of the same Batman from 89, and I think Returns came out in 90 or 91, I can't remember. One of the Easter eggs to show that this is the same Batman, and it's just not Michael Keaton playing a Batman. At the end, slight spoilers for the 1989 Batman. Joker's the villain, and he dies, and the Joker has this recording of a laugh in this bag. At some point, this Batman got a hold of that laughing recording. It's just funny. And there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. I mean, they got down to a T, the Batcave from 89. And it shows that there's different suits that he had. I'm relatively certain this is a different Batwing, because this one, the cockpit stays in place as it does a barrel roll, so that the pilot is not disoriented or doesn't have to get used to being disoriented turning around with the Batwing, you get to stay in place and keep your eyes forward and upright. So that's really cool. And there's other cameos in here as well. Wonder Woman is in this briefly. Yeah, I forgot to mention Gal Gadot's in this. The opening to this had me worried. So Barry's going into work and he gets a call from Alfred. I guess Alfred is like the HR/secretary of the Justice League. Tells him there's this building being robbed and you have to go and save the people. I can't remember what city Flash is from, but he has to go all the way to Gotham, which is nothing for him. He can do it in the blink of an eye. But he's like, why can't Bruce take care of this? I'm constantly doing all this stuff, and it's not even like the big stuff, even though he does end up doing the big stuff. But this robbery stopping / rescue, especially the rescue part, is completely bonkers. So the robbers are taking some kind of virus or something that if it gets released is going to kill tons of people. That has to be stopped. But there's like an explosion or something that weakens the building that he has to go to for this mission. It must be a hospital or something like that with like a research wing or something. Because the front of it, or at least one of the floors in the front, is a nursery. Bunch of newborn babies there, and there's one nurse that's locked as the building is starting to collapse. There's like a dozen babies in this nurse that fall out, and the Flash has to save them. The whole sequence is just, like I said, bonkers. I don't know what I would have done differently. Maybe just make it a simple bank robbery that he has to stop and not make it this whole big thing. Because that's the other thing. This movie could have used some trimming. And I definitely would have changed this whole opening to like a simple bank robbery where he has to go from his city to Gotham and stop the bank robbery, because Batman works at night. Even though in this rescue / robbery stopping scene, Batman is there. I'm not going to go too much more on this. I just don't like the opening. It does get better throughout the movie, and it is really cool watching these characters interact with each other. And there are a ton of Easter eggs in the climax of this movie. You got to get it on Blu-ray. It's a really fun movie. Those are my thoughts on The Flash. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and live your imagination.